How's it going there, guys? Anxious Cynic here, and today I wanted to talk about something that I've been into for years and I don't really talk about it much. I don't know if I've ever really meaningfully talked about it on this channel, and I've been getting into it a bit more, trying to take it a little bit more seriously, and that's photography, by the way. I'm taking forever to get around to the point here. But yeah, I've been into photography for years and I've practiced it on and off, and I just never really incorporated it much into my channel and what I'm doing, and thought maybe it was time I tried to do that. Now the interesting thing is I was never really that into photography. I didn't really look at big photography cameras and go, ooh, I want to do that or anything like that. I was always more into filmmaking and cinematography and how cameras move to tell a story and stuff. And if you've watched my channel, then you know I'm into, animation and machinima and stuff like that. And that was ways for me to explore filmmaking. And so most of my experience and my interest in cameras was more so regarding cinematography, instead of photography where you're just trying to capture that one perfect moment. And it wasn't until I was in my towards late teens, kind of mid-teens, my grandfather got a camera, a Canon 30D, that he was going to use for some environmental work that he did, and he asked me to come along to check out the camera and help him kind of learn how to use it, because I'm kind of the tech guy in the family. So I was like, okay, sure, I'm interested in camera stuff. So I went with him to help him learn how to use the camera, and to kind of, obviously I had to learn it myself in order to help him. And that was my first real experience and an introduction to photography as, the art of capturing an image. So anyway, we went out and went to some areas around to just take kind of scenic pictures of the area where we lived. And while we were out, I kind of saw this shot of a bridge in the area. And some of my vlog videos, if any of you have seen that channel, I don't know if I've had it over here or not. Anyway, we were driving and I was like, I kind of saw something on our way in, and I was like, I wonder if I should try to get that shot, because it looked kind of interesting to me. So once we were pretty much wrapping up what we were doing on our way out of that area, I was like, hey, I kind of saw this shot here, and I thought maybe it'd be interesting to take it. And he was like, sure, fine. So he gave me the camera, and I'm pretty sure I got on the back of his truck, and I was like, go a little bit further, kind of, directing him on where I kind of saw it. And I finally got to where I was like, okay, I think I see the angle again. And that was the very first shot I ever took as like an artistic photograph. And I think that remains as probably one of the best shots I've taken. And it's the very first shot I ever took of like an artistic photograph. So then sometime later, I took that picture and edited it in Photoshop and some of my early noobish Photoshop skills. And most people who saw it seemed to like that. They liked the edited version better than the original. In any case, after that, my grandfather actually got me a camera, and we went out together taking wildlife photography pictures and things like that. And that was pretty much the first time I ever had like a hobby in common with my grandfather. And going out and taking pictures and things was pretty much the way we spent time together. And I did that for some years. We would just go out and try to take pictures of birds and all kinds of things like that. I have a ton of pictures from when we did that. A few of them kind of are okay, but a lot of them I ended up not being that happy with. But after doing a lot of that for a while, I ended up trying to take the camera out more and do some different things with it, and try to expand my horizons, have different experiences, and just kind of put my photography skills to the test. And I kind of discovered, I got bored of wildlife photography. I tend to get bored of whatever I'm shooting pretty quickly, so I have to keep finding new things to shoot, which I guess that's pretty normal. But some people kind of find a niche of something and they'll just keep doing it and beating it to death and perfecting it or whatever. But I just kind of do the best I can and move on. I just get too bored, unfortunately. So then one of the first real different environments I ever got to shoot is I went to the mountains with my sister and my brother-in-law. And unfortunately, I didn't enjoy the trip as much as I should have. I was kind of being, I don't know, I didn't take advantage of the trip the way I should have. But we did go out and hunt some waterfalls, and I got some pictures of that, and just some other pictures trying to exercise my photography skills a little bit, and got some good shots. And that was actually the first real experience I had with going to the mountains. And I guess ever since then, they've been calling me back. So a couple of years after that, I actually met my best friend, who was an online friend for many years. We met playing Ghost Recon on Xbox Live back in 2003. And so we had been friends for years at that point, because it was 2009. He finally took a trip down to meet up in person, and we went out, and I got some pictures. We went out, I showed him some of the areas me and my grandpa would go take wildlife photography and stuff, and that was awesome, finally meeting each other in person and stuff, and getting like awesome pictures to memorize that experience. And then shortly after that, I took a trip up to where he lived, and then we took a trip into the mountains of the state that he lived in. And that is where my love for the mountains really blossomed, because we did some real hikes. I got to practice my photography more, and I was just in a better mindset to take advantage of the scenery and the experience more than my initial mountain trip. And so that remains as one of my most memorable and fond experiences in my life. Being able to hang out with my best friend, kind of being out on our own and exploring the mountains and doing hikes and taking pictures, and it was really enjoyable, and that stuck with me for a long time. I've always wanted to move back to the mountains ever since then, and as you can see, I eventually did that. But of course, not all experiences are good, and little did I know, documenting things with my camera, taking these pictures, led to me to capture things that, wouldn't always be there. I have this picture of my mom with my grandmother and my niece, and if I just had my sister in there, it would have been perfect, but there's 3 different generations of people in my family, and my grandmother passed away in 2013. And I'm really proud of that shot, just the way it turned out, and to have that multi-generational shot there and it turned out so well all together was really meaningful to me, to have that as something to remember her with and to capture it in such a way I feel like I'm kind of proud of. And I just am glad that I had the opportunity to do that. I used to take a lot of pictures of my dog. She had to be put down about a year or so ago. I don't really recall exactly how long it's been, but I had her for 13 years, something like that. So she was getting a bit older, but just those little things, like you take pictures of something and sometimes it might be a dramatic shot, and sometimes it's something happy, and the way things change in your life, it ends up getting a different context. And then somewhat more recently, in the beginning of 2017, I finally married my wife, and we got married on a beach, sort of an elopement style wedding. I had a vlog about it on my vlog channel, and on the honeymoon, I obviously took my camera out with me. I gave her the little point and shoot, and we went around and took some pictures, and I got another one of my favorite shots to date on our honeymoon, which is a piece of driftwood on the beach. And just the way that shot turned out, I've always been pretty happy with it and proud of it. But in any case, that's another one of the memories that has been carried through with my photography as some weird thread going through the timeline that I didn't really realize was happening. And that's something that I honestly realized when preparing to make this video, is that this thing, like these milestones that I've captured through photography, are actually like these moments in my life. And when you're living and you're just going through things, you just think like, I'm taking pictures and I like taking pictures, but it ends up like, if you do it enough, you capture these moments that end up being these little milestones, these little nuggets of your life. And when you go back and look through them, you're telling a story that you didn't realize that you were recording the whole time. The interesting thing about it all is that this was something that was introduced to me kind of inadvertently through my grandfather. Something that I had no initial interest in, something that I didn't even really give much thought to. I've always been about filmmaking and making videos and stuff, and that's always just been my thing. And to have something that has impacted my life in this way, obviously it's not something that I make money with or anything, but to just have this kind of hobby and to have it lend to experiences and memories and capturing moments in life in a way that you didn't anticipate initially. It's pretty crazy to have things happen the way they do and end up having the meaning that they have. But ever since that time, going out with my grandfather to help him learn a new camera and going from there, I've always just started trying to take the camera out as much as I can and taking pictures and always trying to get better and find ordinary things to capture in new ways and trying different cameras and different lenses and stuff. And it's really easy to get bogged down in the equipment, but what ultimately matters is that final image that you take. And all that time, just trying to enjoy something and practice and get better at it and stuff, I didn't realize that I was capturing my life in photography. So that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching this trip down memory lane, a little introduction into one of my other hobbies and maybe something I'll try to incorporate into the channel more. Let me know if you want to see more stuff like this, more about my photography or my adventures. I'm cooking up a video about this, about one of my recent adventures, trying to get some good shots. So yeah, if you want to see more of it, if you like this video, just let me know in the comments. And if you're ever inclined to pick up a camera and take some pictures, you may not ever make money with it, you may not be some big famous photographer that is world-renowned and the world seeks out for the great shots, but you may end up capturing some things that have a lot more meaning to you than you ever would have realized.